I could do things. I could eat what I wanted. I didn't have to. I woke up without pain immediately. Obviously I had the effects of the sedation and stuff, but I could feel the difference of it right away in my body. And I was ecstatic. I was like, I'm going to be able to do things. It was wonderful.
These testimonials are representative of my or our experiences, but the exact results and experience will be unique and individual to each person. The information provided herein is not medical advice and is not intended to substitute for the advice of your personal physician or other healthcare providers. Welcome to The Beautiful Bag. This is your host, LeeAnne Hayden, cancer survivor, and more importantly, ostomy lifer. Each and every week, I'm going to be bringing a special guest or some inspiration for you and a few little stories along the way so that you can learn what life is like for us to be living in an ostomy and why we all think it's a beautiful bag. So listen in and let's get started. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's The Beautiful Bag podcast. So excited, as always, to have you here and so grateful for all of the listeners. This week, I am bringing you a guest. We are in the same Facebook group, Body Positivity with an Ostomy, and her name is Cristina Falbo, and we met through the group, and we said, you know what, let's get your story on this episode. So, Cristina, thank you for joining us this week.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm pretty excited to be with you today.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here too, and to hear your story. I mean, I got a feeling, our stories are a little similar, a little similar. Yep. But so let's get into it. So, I know from talking to you that you were led into having your ostomy because of cancer. So let's talk a little bit about that story.
That seems like such a long time ago, but it's still kind of with me presently. So it's kind of funny how that feels. But I had cancer in 95. I'd had cervical cancer in 95. It was right after I had my son. And after that, I couldn't have any more children. I was stage 3. And at that time, I actually had a colostomy during some of those treatments periods, and then it was reversed. So this would be about, it was actually 27 years ago because my son's birthday is today. So it's easy for me to tell you that.
There you go. And happy birthday to your son.
Yes, that's great. He's just a constant reminder of every milestone since then. I had to have the colostomy then. Things were not as good now as they were they're not as good. They weren't as good then as they are now. And there were difficulties with adhesives. I have some of adhesive allergies. There were obstacles just as not really having very many good Stoma nurses available, really. You were kind of on your own, learn as you go, kind of a thing. It was a little more difficult to get information. Yeah. So I was really glad when that was reversed. And then I kind of went on with life for another 20 years. And then 2015 came along, and I was re-diagnosed. I was actually diagnosed as terminal with my cancer.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, which was extremely scary. It was
kind of cancer? What kind of cancer was it that you had? Was it cervical cancer again, or was it a whole different?
Yes, it was actually a recurrence of the original cervical cancer. They were pretty surprised. They said they don't usually see a 20-year gap. But there I was again with that. And given that it was, I was told it was terminal by 2 different Chicago hospitals in Chicago. Actually, three different Chicago hospitals told me I was terminal, that there was no surgeon that would take on my case. It would have been too complicated and probably would have, in their eyes, ended my life, would not have been successful. So I did decide to get one more opinion. My husband talked me into it. I was tired of hearing no. It's very hard to hear no. And to go through all of that testing, as you realize. So I went through it again, went through all the testing again, and they said, I think we can help you. I was fortunate enough to have one of the top 100 surgeons in the country who was going to help me.
Wow.
So,
okay. Well, let's talk about that for a second, because that must have been such an emotional roller coaster of terminal, but just the perseverance, having the tenacity to keep going and saying, you know what, most people would have given up, and
yeah.
You didn't. With the help of your husband, you didn't. You kept saying, no, there has to be an answer. There has to be something else. So
yes.
Kudos to you for doing that.
It was stressful. I'm glad that I had him by my side to help support me through that. And it was difficult because it would be difficult for anyone, but I had 5 children, 2 of them in college. I was now going to be basically out of a job. So that was a big concern. We were not wealthy. We were getting by, just like most American families. I was concerned that if I passed, that how it would affect my family. I think I was most worried about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I had time for much more in my head.
Isn't it amazing how going through something like that, the only people you're worrying about at the end of the day, the only thing you're worrying about is your family. Like that's it. Money, material things, all that, nothing else matters. It's just, what about my family?
Yeah. I just wanted them to be okay. My husband had talked about doing all kinds of possible treatments. Before we found the surgeon, he was looking for every possible opportunity to save my life. And he was, he, along with a lot of my friends, were researching, sharing things. I was in the business of maintaining my sanity and my day-to-day.
Sometimes it's all you can do.
Yeah.
Now, where was this last surgeon? Was he in the Chicago area, or was he in a different area?
He was in the Chicago area. He was at the Chicago Cancer Treatment Centers of America. He is not there now. He was recruited by another hospital. In fact, he actually took the place of the first doctor who treated me at another hospital. Yeah.
Okay. So now you get the surgeon. He says, I can do this. I'm gonna treat you. Walk us through that.
Goodness. We had a little bit of time before the surgery, and part of that was going to my best friend's wedding. So we did that, and it was, we went to this wedding over the weekend, right before I was to go in on Tuesday and have this surgery. So it wasn't completely carefree, but it was a nice thing to be able to have right before we did that. As a very good distraction. So we soaked up and enjoyed every moment of that little vacation, that little mini vacation with our friends. That was probably, in preparation, that's probably the best thing you can do, is to try to live in the moment. It's something that I try to do every day. It's very difficult some days. You have to kind of swipe things aside. but that's a lot of what I went through. I mean, it's kind of like when you are in a car and you anticipate it possibly going to crash. It looks like it's going to crash, and you grip the armchairs and you brace yourself for that. And as I did that, you kind of tense up, you're ready, and you kind of just go forward and do everything to basically preserve your being, your base. Oh, that's my pup. Basically trying to preserve everything and protect yourself as you're going into that, holding on and stuff. And I think that's what I was doing right prior to that, as I was just going. I'll tell you, the funny thing is, the day of the surgery, I woke up early. I fixed myself all up. I made my hair look beautiful, put on my makeup. I didn't care. They told me not to wear makeup. I did anyway. And when I went there, I think I was going there saying, okay, do you see this? Try not to wreck it too much. just
You know what?
Try to give me a little bit of what this is a person here. See this person? Try not to completely demolish it.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, sounds like they didn't, because the surgery was a success. Now, you wake up. Did you know that being in an ostomy was going to be the option?
Yes.
Okay.
I had been told that that the ostomies, I had both, I have a urostomy and a colostomy.
Okay.
And I was told they were going to be both permanent. And when I woke up a little bit after that, they said to me that it's possible to reverse the colostomy. And as I mentioned, they did reverse that. And then I had to go back into that. And that was a decision that I had to make myself because of my lifestyle.
And talk about that. What was your lifestyle like? Like, what made you say, okay, I will have it. I know I had it reversed. I'm having issues with it. What made you say, let's go permanent with the colostomy?
I had gotten to the point where it was hard for me to go out. I was afraid to go out. When I would go out, I couldn't wait to get back home. I couldn't live in the moment, as I was saying. I lived in this fear of having an accident. I would, just to be careful, I would put on Depends because I was afraid of having an accident. A lot of times I would have an accident. I would say, I've got to go now.
Right.
And then it's go get the car, let's hurry up, pay the check and get out the door, And there was times where I'd said, I'll wait outside because we weren't done paying the check, but I wasn't confident that I was going to be able to, I guess, leave without having an accident before I left. And it got to a point where I didn't feel like I was truly living.
Okay.
I had a blockage at one point. I was uncomfortable all the time. I was in pain. And I said, enough is enough. Funny enough, when I went into the hospital and got the colostomy, when I woke up, I was happy as a clam. I said to the nurse, I said, I'm probably the happiest person to wake up with a colostomy that you've ever met.
And she probably agreed with that. So
she said, yes, you are.
And so being, what was it about being in the colostomy that made you so happy?
I was free. And that, I think a lot of people may look at it as a restriction of freedom, but I was finally free. I could do things. I could eat what I wanted. I didn't have to. I woke up without pain immediately. Obviously I had the the effects of the sedation and stuff, but I could feel the difference of it right away in my body. And I was ecstatic. I was like, I'm going to be able to do things. It was wonderful.
Oh,
It was
that
wonderful.
makes me so happy. So now what are some of those things that you've been able to do over the last, so that was in 2017. So basically 5 years, just about 5 years ago. So you've had your permanent colostomy for 5 years. What are some of the things that you've been able to do that you hadn't been able to do when you had the reversal?
Well, it was my dream to eventually retire in Florida. And we had always planned, okay, that's what we're going to do. Eventually we'll get there. And it was during one of my blockages, and when I had decided I was going to go ahead and get the colostomy, my husband came into my hospital room and started taping pictures of houses on the walls.
Oh, you've got one heck of a husband there.
Oh, you have no idea what this man has done for me.
Oh.
Holy cow, he is amazing. And he said, pick one. We're going to Florida. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, every vacation, you know, if we've been in the hospital, we haven't been able to do this. We're going to live in paradise. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make it every day. We're planning on getting there someday anyway. The kids are all moved out. Let's go now. I can switch jobs, you know, and so we did. And that has been just pure heaven for me. We bought a house with a pool because it was one of my things that I told the realtor. He called me up one day and said, do you really need a house with a pool? And I said, listen, I don't care if it has a kitchen. It's got to have a pool.
We can order out.
That's right. Oh my gosh. We have so much fun with the pool. We love it. And we love our home. We built it around entertaining a lot of our friends to come to us, which is nice because I have everything here that I need. Not that I couldn't go somewhere, and not that we don't go out other places, because we go everywhere. We've gone on vacations. We cruise. Well, we did until COVID, but
yeah,
you know, that's going to, you know, come back eventually. And we've gone to a resort in Cancun, met up with all the kids there. We start planning time to spend with all of our family, and it's back to the same thing. What do you think about? What's important? And it comes back to family. And when we go on a vacation and we do that vacation and we have fun, as soon as I get back home, within about 2 months, I'm looking for where our next possibility is and telling everybody, just be ready. I'll let you know when I find the right thing, you know.
I love that. And you're right, it is all about family, but I want to back up for a second. So because a lot of people have questions about swimming, being in a swimsuit, going in a pool, and your biggest thing was, I want a pool. And girl, I'm right with you. Like, we moved from New York City back to New Hampshire, and we haven't bought a house back in New Hampshire yet. And I told my husband, the one thing is I need a pool, like, period.
Yep.
And we went to Naples, Florida a few weeks ago, and we were there for 2 weeks. And the house that we rented had a pool. And now we're renting that same house for the months of January and February. And there's something about just having the pool and laying there in the sun and the warmth and floating around. But let's talk about, you know, what are some of the things, like, you go swimming, I'm assuming you have your pool, you're in your water. Are you ever afraid of anything happening to your bags and all
You know,
of that?
you know, I kind of knew my appliances before we had a pool.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew how they reacted with water. I knew how they reacted with warm water. Our pool is a saltwater pool. That was kind of a learning curve, you know, but there was really no learning to it. I got in the pool, everything was fine. We have a hot tub. I can go in the hot tub. I do use a longer wearing bag. I do make sure that I let it, I call it cure, but let it have a time where it's really completely having all the adhesives seal about 24 hours before I go swimming.
Okay.
So I put on my appliances in advance, or I change them in advance. And I can't think of too many other restrictions that I have. I have got some swimwear that is designed for ostomies, and I've got some that's not. I just wear a full brief. The way my ostomies are, I have two of them. They're both down in front. I think it would be hard to wear them outside my bag or outside my suit based on where they are. So I have a one piece. They both tuck everything inside. Or excuse me, I have a two piece. I wear a two piece. That's the most comfortable. It makes it easy for me to make adjustments if needed. And I don't do anything different. Like, I don't just go, I'm not going to eat for 24 hours. I'm just me. And we have wonderful friends, and they're all aware that I have ostomies, and they will, occasionally balloon a little bit. And I kind of just wrap a towel around myself and take care of it, kind of go inside, take care of it, and come back out. I really haven't had it. Oh, you again. I really haven't had it impact my enjoyment at all. My husband and I also, like I said, we go to resorts, we go to cruises, we've gone on the beach, we go to the beach around here. And you just strategically have something to throw over the top of yourself. So if your balloon does kind of blow up a little bit or balloon a bit, that you can go and fix it. And I just go and make the adjustments and come back. Honestly, I've grown up being a summertime pool person. If I just eliminated that from my life, I wouldn't be true to myself. I'm going to enjoy every part of everything that I possibly can.
I am so glad that you said that. And it sounds like you really, really are just enjoying everything about your life, and that, the ostomies have given you that second, third chance, that ability to, just like you said, enjoy yourselves. We'll have to, so you said you had some, you wear swimsuits that aren't for ostomies, and then you wear some swimsuits that you've gotten that are made for people with ostomies. You wear two pieces, you wear the higher brief, so everything's tucked in, it's more comfortable for you. I think all of those things are just so important, but the most important thing that you've said, I think, through this whole, these last 20, 30 minutes, is that being true to yourself, honoring who you are, living your life. You don't really think about it. You just take care of things when they need to be taken care of, and your family. And everything you do is just surrounded by that. And I have to praise you for that. And then living in the moment, which is very difficult for people to do. What are some of the things that you do that help you to live in the moment and to stay in the moment? Because it's not easy to do, and we know our minds just go everywhere else. But what are some of the techniques or some of the things that you do to keep yourself there?
Oh, some days, right now, I am in the process of being evaluated for a kidney transplant. So it's one of the things that came out of the cancer as a result. My kidney was very damaged. It's continued to be damaged, and kidneys don't get better. They generally just get worse. So I am in that process. So there's a lot of things that I could really let eat me alive with worry and with anguish and concern. But truly, I guess I honestly have about died. I've been on an operating table or in a situation where They thought I was not going to make it 3 or 4 times now. And a lot of times I go, well, listen, I've fought death before and I've won a few times. I've got a good track record. So that's part of it. And then I think a bigger part is when you really explore all the what ifs, what if, there are so many possibilities to one situation that your ability to control any of those things that are going to happen is just not really within our own personal ability.
Mhm.
And knowing that, I don't know if it just makes it easier, but it makes me think, I think it just sort of made me let go of that, of those things. And when I do have those days where things start piling on top of me and you're going through the medical bills, I think that's one of the things that tends to make my brain a little crazy, is to spend about 3 or 4 hours trying to sort through medical bills and talk to the different people and the insurance companies and all that. I have
It's a
to,
lot of work.
yeah, I have to give myself a break. I have to give myself a treat,
Mhm.
you know.
And what are some of your favorite treats?
Sometimes the most simplest things, you know, just a candy out of a box of chocolates has been, because of Valentine's Day, one of my more recent treats. I finished off that box, so
Good girl. There's nothing like a chocolate.
yeah. Or, you know, even just 15 minutes of playing with my 2 dogs. It's basically just grounding myself. You know, like when I use the phrase, I live in the moment, and I tell myself that a lot. And that's the thing that with the bills, that's anxiety that's kind of, that can be set aside so that you can go, okay, I'm doing the best I can. This is what I'm doing. It's going to be fine. Everything's been fine so far. I'll work it out. You know what? I've done enough today. I'm going to do these on Monday some more because I'm done. I'm done today.
Mhm.
This is good. I'm good. You know?
Those are great tips. Those are great things. Those are just great practices that that you do for yourself that I know the listeners can take in and, you know, even put in for themselves. You know, it's like you don't have to finish everything right in the moment. And if it's giving you anxiety, if it's stressing you out, it's okay to say, let me do a little bit. All right, I need a break. Either take a minute and go back to it, or take a few days and go back to it. You know, nothing has to be completed right now.
Right. Right.
You know?
And it's something that we are all in a process. There is not a beginning and an end to things. It's not, our journey is linear.
Mhm.
We don't have just completely like phases that start and stop completely. I'm not saying this very well, but it's not, I guess the thing is, and I've had some discussions with my son lately because he's also having his birthday. So we talk about where you are in life, where you're going, what you're thinking and stuff. And sometimes it's hard because you think, have I done enough in life? Am I doing everything I should do? Am I on the right path? And the truth is, I think, is that we are all right where we were meant to be on our path. And we are doing it right now. We're not like looking at the future of what we're going to do. You can't look in the past and undo anything that's already there. You're doing it right now. We are doing life right now, every moment. And if this moment I've decided to cuddle up in a blanket on the couch with my dogs, I'm not wasting my life away. Nothing is wasting your life away. Nothing.
I love
Nothing.
that. I love that. I love that. And it's so true. It's so true. So true. And it's a great reminder for everybody. Now, Cristina, is there anything that we haven't discussed that you wanted to share today?
I think I right now, I currently, for whatever reason, somehow people with ostomies or new ostomies seem to find me either through friends of friends, or they just find me. And so many people are so afraid. And it is kind of a scary process. Like I told you, like it's like you felt like maybe you were going to go into a car accident. You just brace yourself. You just hold on. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And it's funny because what I had told my son when we were having this discussion about, like I said, he's 27, so he's kind of concerned. Am I doing the right thing? Where's my life goals? What am I supposed to be doing? What do I need to accomplish? What do I need to achieve? Have I done enough by this age? And I said, I think we all go through that. And now I forgot why I was saying this.
From being in the, oh, my brain just went too. That usually doesn't happen. No, no, it's totally fine. You were talking about people coming to you and you telling everybody it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was going. It's the same advice I gave to him. Mm-hmm. It's okay. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You were led to here, to this point in your life, and this is where you're meant to be. I don't think there's anybody that when they were a little kid ever dreamed that this is where their life would be. Mm-hmm. Ever. Nobody thought that this is going to happen to me, I don't think. And there's nothing, I don't think there's anything that ever prepares you for this. You can't plan for this. Like you can't know what it's going to be like. Even when you knew you were going to have the surgery, you couldn't really know what it's going to be like every day. But it's going to be okay. It's really going to be okay.
I love that. I love that. And we can, and with that, to all our listeners, you're going to be okay. Just like Cristina said, everything is going to be fine. Cristina, if there was one last thing that you would want to leave your listeners with, what would that be?
I would say, gosh, there's so many things. I think for me, it was hold your head high. You've been through a flippin' lot of stuff. If you've come this far and this is where you are, holy cow, look at all you have gone through and you are winning. You're winning because you're still here. Oh my gosh, give yourself credit. When they say, put on your big girl panties, holy cow, well, put on your big girl panties. You've got it, and you've got every right to be holding your head high, wear that crown. It really is an amazing life. And it's not like I'm done. It's not like I'm over it. I'm not really over it. It's not like I go, yeah, I don't care at all that I have this. I just I've adjusted and learned the tricks of how to get through different situations. And you make these adjustments and they become second nature, just like everything else you've grown to accommodate in your life. Mm-hmm. It's, hold your head high. You've done so much.
That is beautiful advice. That is beautiful advice. And Cristina, if any of the listeners wanted to find you, where would be the best place for them to go?
Well, I am in the group Body Positivity, so that is a great place to find me. I'm also on Facebook. I'm a public profile. They could find me under Cristina Falbo, and that's spelled Cristina. The maiden name is Herlein, and my last name is Falbo, F as in Frank, Albo. And I would love to meet anybody through Facebook who's interested. You would probably also through my Facebook page become more acquainted with my crazy husband, who keeps me smiling and laughing all through life. So
I love it. I love it. And I will also make sure that your handles are in the show notes too. So if anybody is interested in finding Cristina on Facebook, I'll put her handle in the show notes, as well as the link to our Facebook group that we are both in. Cristina, I have to thank you so much for being with us this week. And I'll tell you, next year when I'm down in Florida for 2 months, we'll have to get our crazy husbands together. The four of us will have to get together. Because I know we'll only be a few hours apart from each other, so we'll figure it out.
Right. Naples is not that far from me.
Nope, not that far at all. So, but I wanted to thank you again so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure. I like to be able to share my story with other people who could maybe benefit from it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, we're grateful for you, and to our listeners, we will see you again next week.
Great.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. If you enjoyed this podcast, get the behind the scenes at LeeAnneHayden.com/ostomy updates. And also, if you found this episode encouraging, please screenshot it and share it on Instagram. And don't forget to tag me and also the person who was on the episode with me. I occasionally will do special gifts for anyone who does do a screenshot and share it on Instagram or in your stories. Also, lastly, please go to Apple or Google, rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to keep up with them every single week. I enjoy you guys. Thank you so much for being here.